apprentice. You have been gone for some time. I was nearly convinced that you had died. Well done. I hope that you have learned a vital lesson while inside of Nad's tomb. He was a mighty Sith Lord and a true master of the dark side. You would have much to learn from him. Are you ready for your next lesson, then? Yes, you will have no respite. You are far beyond the need for such things now, my apprentice. Your reward is the offer of another challenge. The challenge of learning from those who came before us. Sit. Today, we will discuss Darth Maul, the first of Lord Sidious's apprentices. He was the least among them, but make no mistake, he was as dangerous as any, skilled in the arts of war, subterfuge, and manipulation. Unlocking file. Darth Maul, the Sith Assassin. Processing. Accounts of Darth Maul's birth are varied and indistinct. There are a number of possibilities as to the location of his birth. Zabrak are a far-flung species. The most likely story, however, is that he was born on Dathomir, a planet steeped in dark side energies, into the coven of Mother Talzin, a Night Sister. Night Sisters were a group of force-sensitive witches that lived on the planet, and Mother Talzin was strong in the dark side. Her coven feared for dominating the planet. It was not long until they came to the attention of the then Sith apprentice, Darth Sidious. Sidious would stumble across Maul and his mother, and he would sense that the boy was naturally strong in force. Talzin would give Maul to Sidious, and the Dark Lord would take the young Zabrak as his own, transporting him to Mustafar to be raised in the ways of the Sith. Maul was left in the care of droids for the entirety of his early childhood. Eventually, Sidious would begin to train the boy in the ways of the dark side, trying to keep the child secret in the hopes he could one day be used against his own master. But Darth Plagueis was a very difficult man to fool. He discovered Maul's existence a mere year after Sidious discovered the young child. But rather than have him killed or Sidious punished, Plagueis gave Sidious his blessing, with a caveat. Maul was not to be trained as a true Sith Lord. He was to be trained as an assassin, a warrior, a killer, a weapon. But no true Sith. Sidious agreed, and so Maul's training began in earnest, unhindered by the need for stealth. His training was harsh as yours, apprentice. Any hint of weakness or mercy was punished with extreme cruelty, as is the way for all Sith. He was given daily exercises, both mental and physical. Maul excelled as a warrior, his martial prowess soon exceeding all of his other talents. He became adept with a staff, but was also proficient in most other martial arts. There were few that could ever hope to match Darth Maul's prowess. There are some scattered reports that he even once slew a Yuzang Vong warrior in unarmed single combat. An impressive feat, if it is true. But he was not only trained in the arts of battle. Sidious also ensured that Maul was well taught in the arts of subterfuge. He focused on the criminal underworld, teaching Maul how to blend in, how to go unseen, how to manipulate the shadowy side of society in a bid to establish a network of power. By all indication, Maul was meant to be unleashed in order to bring the galaxy's criminal underworld to heel, so that it could be used as a tool for the Sith. A good plan from Lord Sidious, and one that Maul was perfectly suited to help enact. The boy would eventually complete his training, and he would be given his moniker, Darth Maul, by his master. He would work for years under Darth Sidious, helping to slowly destabilize the galaxy and to keep the Sith hidden, undertaking dozens of missions for his master. Maul rarely met with failure, again, much like you, apprentice. That is, until he was dispatched to the planet of Naboo to track down the wayward Queen Amidala. Naboo had been blockaded by the Trade Federation, a ploy by Darth Plagueis and Darth Sidious to advance the grand plan. Queen Amidala, however, with the aid of 2 Jedi, proved to be more resourceful than originally anticipated. She escaped the planet and threatened to return to Coruscant to protest the illegal invasion of her planet by a private company. Maul was told to prevent this from happening. He would track them to the isolated desert world of Tatooine. The Queen had been forced to land there to repair her vessel, and while Maul knew that they were on the planet somewhere, it took him some time to locate their exact position. Once he did, he struck. Maul attacked them as they were trying to leave the planet, and entered into a fierce duel with Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon would manage to escape, just barely. This failure was something unplanned for, and was potentially dangerous to the grand plan. The Jedi now knew that the Sith still existed, but all was not for nothing. The existence of Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one of prophecy, was revealed to the Sith in turn. Darth Sidious immediately began to lay his own plans, his vast experience in foresight allowing him to see that his time had come. Eventually, Queen Amidala and her Jedi protectors would return to Naboo, and Darth Sidious would dispatch Maul to deal with them. There, Maul would combat Master Jinn and his apprentice Obi-Wan, and Maul would slay Qui-Gon Jinn. In turn, however, he would be struck down by Obi-Wan. Listen well to this next lesson, apprentice. All the records indicate that Maul's failure here was entirely his own. The holo-records say that he had Obi-Wan beaten, and he hesitated in the kill. Hesitated so that he could gloat. Heed me, apprentice. Do not ever hesitate to deliver the killing blow. Your enemy is not defeated until their bodies lie lifeless before your feet. Until then, they may always pose a threat. Even the most sure victory can be stolen from you. Do not stay your hand. Have control of your emotions. The time to gloat is over their corpse. Maul would barely survive this encounter. His wound would be cauterized by Obi-Wan's lightsaber, and his sheer rage would help him to maintain his slim hold on consciousness long enough to use the Force to survive a great fall. He would end up in a garbage scow headed to Lotho Minor, and there he would manage to build replacement legs from the junk in the worldwide garbage heap. Despite this, however, Maul would be driven completely mad by the experience. For a long time, he remembered nothing, could remember nothing, only his burning hatred for the Jedi who struck him down. He wandered Lotho Minor for years, over a decade, before finally being found by his brother, another Zabrak by the name of Savage Opress. Opress was sent to find Maul by their mother, Talzin, the leader of the Night Sisters on Dathomir. Opress found Maul, his body and mind shattered, and brought his brother back to their homeworld to be treated by Talzin. She would remake his legs into better ones and heal his shattered mind, using the dark side to bring back his memories. Afterwards, Maul swore revenge on Kenobi, and he and his brother set out to find the now Jedi Master. They lay an ambush for Obi-Wan on the world of Raydonia, slaughtering villages in order to draw the Jedi Master out. Obi-Wan would answer the call, and he and Maul would clash. However, despite Maul's best efforts, Obi-Wan was able to escape again. After this, the two brothers terrorized the galaxy, going on a spree of looting and pillaging that made them infamous. They burned stations and villages, stole credits, and eventually ran across the Mandalorian faction known as Death Watch. Maul and Opress would enter into an alliance with Death Watch, and together they would begin to build a criminal organization known as the Shadow Collective, recruiting the likes of Black Sun and even the Hutt cartels. Maul became so powerful politically that he began to call himself the Dark Lord of the Sith, claiming Opress as his apprentice in the Bainite tradition. This, of course, was a lie. There can only ever be one Dark Lord, and that was Lord Sidious, who by then had slain his own master to claim the title. Maul was nothing more than a pretender, a highly skilled Sith assassin meant to be used and discarded in a long and complicated game. He and his brother's successes began to give him delusions of grandeur, and the two of them began to style themselves falsely as true Sith. Eventually, Maul would lead his Shadow Collective to Mandalore, where he would slay their ruler, Pre Vizsla, and seize power for himself. This would ultimately prove to be Maul's undoing. He had styled himself as Dark Lord, and seized control of one of the most historically militaristic people in the galaxy. He had made himself a rival to Lord Sidious, and so Sidious could no longer ignore the petty pirate that was once his apprentice. A lesson was needed. Darth Sidious traveled to Mandalore, and there engaged in a demonstration of prowess that showed Darth Maul just how weak he truly was. Sidious overpowered both Maul and his brother with the Force, as if they were nothing. He then proceeded to defeat both easily in a lightsaber duel, slaying Opress and mocking Maul as a failure. He took Maul prisoner, and that was the last that the Zabrak was ever seen on the stage of history. At least, according to the records I examined during my lifetime. There were rumors that he survived, stuck in carbonate storage until Sidious decided that he needed him, and that Maul was reawakened nearly a century after Sidious's death. But these are only rumors. If Darth Maul did live into our own time, then I found no trace of him during my long wanderings. So, Apprentice, what is there to learn from the story of Darth Maul? It should be obvious, especially for one at your level of skill. Darth Maul was a fearsome warrior and powerful in the Force, but he was no Sith. Sidious never trained him as such. He never intended him to be as such. Darth Maul would later claim this title for his own, and while that may, on surface level, seem to be the way of the Sith, that is only what the fool or an outsider would conclude. Maul was clutching at things that he did not fully understand, like a babe reaching for boiling water. He knew nothing of the test of strength. He knew nothing of the true nature of the dark side. He had anger. He had hatred. He had a drive for vengeance, but he did not truly understand how these things fueled his connection to the Force. These emotions, when not properly controlled, can rule you. They can dominate you surer than anything else in the galaxy. These emotions, they connect you to the dark side because they make you feel alive. They make you feel vibrant and true and living. And the Force flows from life. Do you understand, Apprentice? Do you see the connection? By being alive in the extremes of any given emotional experience, one becomes more connected to the Force itself. That is the truth of the dark side. That is why it is so easy to use, and that is a subtlety that Darth Maul never realized. Anger alone is not enough, and that is why he never claimed his vengeance. Control is needed. Focus, in order to turn that anger into a laser point which connects you directly to the living Force. It is time now, my apprentice, to see how well you have learned this lesson. I have found records of a similar thing that Darth Sidious once taught to Darth Maul. He took the young Zabrak into the Jedi Temple itself, the two Sith walking right beneath the noses of their hated foe, unseen. It takes immense control to suppress your presence in the Force, and it was meant to teach Maul the lesson that he would never fully grasp. We will see if you too can pass this test, Apprentice. Travel to Coruscant, where you are wanted by the Jedi for murder. Walk freely through their temple, and then return to me. It will take all the discipline you have to walk beneath the noses of those who hunt you unscathed. Do this, and then your lessons will resume. Succeed, and I will finally teach you the final lightsaber form, and your training as a true Sith Lord shall be complete. Go. Begin your journey. Meditate upon the life of Maul and the lessons of his failures. And as always, Apprentice, may the Force break your chains.